Hi, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you've had a great day so far. So welcome to day 2 of the IELTS Masterclass program. It's a sincere request, all of you, please switch on your camera so that the interaction would be better, the experience would be better. I also hope you've taken a look at the videos that I shared with you on the WhatsApp group. Go through it if you have not. Another thing is some of you have not shared your email IDs with me. Today, when I open the window from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., please go ahead and share your details so that I can add you to the training content tool. All right? Okay. Let us start, and I hope that you guys are also as enthusiastic as I am today as well. I hope you all have come here with an open mind to learn, right? That's exactly what is expected out of you. Okay. Now, before we move on to today's program, let me quickly do a recap of whatever I taught you yesterday. So the first thing that we learned yesterday was about the IELTS examination. IELTS is also known as International English Language Testing System, and it is important for you to take it if you want to go abroad, either to study or on a PR visa. Whenever you register for the IELTS exam, make sure you have your passport ready because that's important. And the IELTS exam is scored on a scale of 1 to 9, 1 being the lowest, 9 being the highest, correct? If you're going to take the paper-based test, you will get your results within 13 working days. And if you plan to take computer-based test, you will get your results within a week's time, all right? But please choose the test based on your comfort, right? Now, the IELTS module is, the IELTS examination is divided into 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And yesterday, we started with the speaking module. Quick recap about the speaking module, an overview, and a little bit about part 1 before we move ahead, okay? So the speaking test is a face-to-face interview with the examiner. Even if you're taking a computer-based test, you will have a interaction with the personal or in-person interaction with your examiner. Okay, the speaking test is anywhere between 11 to 14 minutes long. And as soon as you enter the examination room, the examiner will ask you a couple of basic introductory questions and then start your test. The examiner again will introduce himself or herself and ask you questions like, what is your full name? Where are you from? Are you a working professional or a student? What can I call you? The examiner will ask you to produce your ID proof, which ideally needs to be your passport. After this, your test will begin. Also remember, the whole speaking test will be recorded on an audio device, okay, entirely from the time you enter till the time you exit. Okay, so because it's going to be recorded, please make sure that you talk slowly, have a good rate of speech, and talk loudly. Don't mumble. All right. We also discussed part 1 of the IELTS exam, IELTS speaking exam, which is also known as the interview. I request everybody to switch on your camera. Yeah, okay, great. I can see some faces. Well, that's good. Everybody, Vinita, Vinod, Rakshanda, Anirudh, Anisha, please switch on your cameras. Yeah, okay. So, in part 1, you will get varied topics, but all the questions are going to be directed to you. Okay? This part or the interview goes on for anywhere between 4 to 5 minutes, And like I mentioned yesterday, you don't have to focus on the time. The examiner will do that. Generally, 10 to 12 questions are asked in part 1, and majorly 2 topics. So maybe 5 questions in each topic or 6 questions in each topic, to understand how comfortable are you speaking in the language and speaking about yourself. All right? Yes. Now, we are not supposed to give one-line answers. It is always important to extend your answers to showcase your English language skills, because at the end of the day, this is an English language examination. Correct? Now, what are the ways in which we can extend our answers? One is give reasons, give some examples, state some examples, talk about your preferences. If they ask you something like, do you play sports, and you don't, please mention that you don't and tell what you prefer. Tell what you prefer doing. All right, be absolutely honest. And based on the question, you can also talk about a past experience and the present scenario, or present scenario and your future goal. Do you exercise? Right now, or at the moment, I don't really work out because of my hectic work schedule. However, last year, when we all were locked up at homes, I used to work out for 30 minutes every day. So you can talk about your past and present, or present and your future goal. Is it clear? Yes. So if everybody has understood and everybody recollects whatever we learned yesterday, please type a yes in the chat, and then we'll move on. Great, great. Also, whoever sent their answers to me yesterday, the home assignment, I've given you a feedback. Please work on that. Okay. All right. So let's all get started and move on to part 2. So today's agenda is going to be completely about part 2. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about what the long turn is, how to make your notes, and how to structure your answers while speaking in part 2, after which we are going to practice just like yesterday. All right. And of course, if you have any queries in between, you can type it in the chat. I will answer. Okay, I'll give you the 2-minute window in between so you can ask me questions. Your takeaway, or what I want you to take away from today's program, is to understand part 2 properly, how you should be utilizing the 1-minute preparation time, and how to frame your answers. Okay, clear? Let's begin. So as you already know, part 2, or the long turn, is the only segment in the IELTS speaking test where you get 1 minute time to prepare. Okay. So your examiner will give you a cue card or a task card. This task card is nothing but a piece of paper with a question given to you, a detailed question given to you. Okay. So you will get that task card, a piece of paper, and then you have your pen or a pencil with you, and then you prepare for 1 whole minute. Is it clear? The task card will be with you throughout part 2 segment. All right. After your preparation time, after 1 minute, the examiner will ask you to stop preparing and start speaking immediately. You will have to speak for 1.5 to 2 minutes. Again, you cannot wear a watch in your exam room. The examiner will take care of this. Okay. Yes, is it clear, everybody? Yeah. So after 2 minutes, again, the examiner will ask you to stop speaking. The best part about the long turn is that for the whole 2 minutes, your examiner will not interrupt you at all. All right. So you will speak continuously for 2 minutes on the topic that has been given to you. Okay. Now, I will show you how a part 2 question looks like, because it's always going to be a detailed question, and that will help you frame your answers better. Okay. We are going to now understand how to develop ideas and how to make use of the preparation time. All right. Is it clear, everybody? So far, so good. Please type a yes in the chat and then we'll move on. Great. All right. Brilliant. Lovely. Okay. Let's move on, please. This is exactly how your task card looks like. Okay. The entire box which says, talk about an older person you admire. You should say who this person is, how long have you known him or her, what qualities he or she has, and explain why you admire him or her. This entire set will be given to you. Okay. Once you're given this, you'll have a piece of paper and start making your notes. But before we understand how to make notes, let us understand the different parts of the cue card itself. So here in the beginning, the first statement contains the topic. Who do you have to talk about, or what do you have to talk? You need to talk about an older person who you admire. This is the topic, right? The second section here, the second section here contains certain questions which will help you frame your answers better. These are also known as anchor questions. Who, how long, and what. All right. So these three questions will help you frame and structure your answers better and also help you elaborate your answers. The third segment or the third section usually contains a why or a how question, and you have to explain it. If you look at it over here, the word is explain, and here the word is talk, or you may even get a word describe, which means you will have to talk about whatever topic you have in detail. Is it clear? Yeah. So the three sections of a cue card, the question card, is the topic, which is the first statement. Then you have the WH questions or the anchor questions, which will help you describe the topic. And finally, a statement, a why or a how question that you need to explain. Is it clear? Yes? All right. Any questions so far? I'll give you 2 minutes. You can ask. Otherwise, you can just type no queries and we can move on. Okay, shall we move on, everybody? Yes, you can even give me a thumbs up. That's okay. I understand. I will be able to figure out. Okay, great. 1 minute preparation time is extremely important, guys. Do not forget that. You need to utilize that 1 minute time. And the reason I'm saying this is I've been asked a question many, many times. Is it okay if I don't jot down my points? Is that all right? I would say no. Please utilize that 1 minute time. Make use of it as you would make use of the 2 minutes time to speak. Make your notes, and I will tell you how to make your notes, but please jot it down, because imagine you have to speak at length for 2 whole minutes and the points are only in your mind. So you're simultaneously framing sentences, thinking of more ideas, and talking. There is a high possibility that one may forget certain details, or the answer may become incoherent, or grammar just goes out of the window. Or there's also repetition of the same idea over and over again. Okay, so please write down, jot down points. How do you jot down these points? There are a couple of ways, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. One method is you talk about a specific person or a specific event only. Okay, like talk about an older person you admire, talk about just one older person and explain in detail. All right, and let us look at that. How do you do it? You can do that either by making a mind map, which is to the left of your screen over here, or jot down keywords, jot down one below the other. And let us look at how it has been done. So the older person, I've made a note of it. Who? Grandfather. I've just written the word. How long? Since childhood. Just a keyword. Qualities, because that was my question. Bold, systematic, broad-minded. I've just jotted down the keywords. I have not written any sentences. Are you able to understand this? So never write sentences in this 1 minute time, because you'll not be able to complete the entire cue card. All right. And what do I admire? And I've written 2 to 3 points over here. This is a mind map where I have a nucleus and some branches. If you don't want to make that, you can simply do the same thing by jotting down keywords. Who? Grandfather, or any older person. How long have you known them? Just bullet points, no writing sentences. Okay. Qualities, and then why do I admire? Right? So always only jot down whatever keywords do not write sentences. Now, if you have some more time and your examiner hasn't told you stop preparing, you can still go ahead and write some more points. Are you getting it? Guys, is it clear? Yes. This is one way of making notes where I've only focused on a single person, that is grandfather, and written points about grandfather. Clear? Okay, just a second. I believe somebody has a question. Okay, great. Okay. All right. I've focused on a specific person. What if earlier I used to admire somebody, now I admire somebody else? Can I answer like that? Can I make some points like that where I have 2 or 3 people also involved? Yes, you can. And let me show you how you can make notes for that. The simple thing you need to remember is just jot down keywords, okay? You can talk about past, present, or future. Just write down, as a child, admired grandfather, now admire father. And then qualities about the person. How long have you known this person? Go back to the question and elaborate every point for both these people. Are you getting it? One is to only focus on a specific person. The other is you can talk about 2 or 3 people, but make sure for those 2 or 3 people, I'm going to just go back a little. Make sure that for those 2 or 3 people, you say who the person is, how long have you known this person, what are the qualities he or she has, and why you admire him or her. Do not just say, oh, I admire my grandfather. I used to admire my grandfather. Now I admire my father. That is not how you answer. You have to elaborate each and every point, even if you're talking about 2 or 3 people. Is it clear? Yes. Everybody, have you understood how to make notes? Yeah. Okay. Now let's say you have describe a meal that you had that you remember well. You can talk about a meal that you had in your childhood and a meal that you had currently and what you wish to have in the future. You can use that, or talk about a specific meal that you vividly remember and then answer these 4 questions. Clear? Please type a yes if you've understood, because I'm going to quickly give you all an activity to do, and then I will teach you how to speak or how to elaborate part 2. Okay? I'll give you guys a minute. If you have any doubts so far, please type in the chat. I will answer them for you. All right. Looks like everything is clear. Okay, let's move on. Now I'm going to give you some activity to do where I want you only to jot down your keywords. You can either use the first technique where you make a mind map or jot down keywords about a specific topic, individual or one topic, or past, present, and future. You make that decision. All right. Now, the question is right here on the screen. You have to make notes for describe a meal that you had that you remember well, where the meal was, why you had the meal, who you went with, and explain why you remember this particular occasion. I'm going to set the timer to 1 minute. Quickly make your notes. One-minute timer starts now. And stop. Stop making your notes. Pens down, please. Yeah. Great. Have you all written your notes? Yes. What I'm going to do is, for the next 2 or 3 minutes, I will just, whoever wants to just share their notes verbally can do that. Raise your hand just like we did yesterday, and I will unmute you and you can answer. Okay. Don't frame any sentences, just the keywords. All right. Whatever notes you've written, just tell me that. Anybody who would like to volunteer, please raise your hand. Okay. Aparna, hold on. Yes. Aparna, can you read out your notes? Prashanti, you're next.
So the meal that I remember was the one that I had after the first lockdown. And where we went to Barbecue Nation. Why? Because after a long gap, it was so interesting to go out and have. So that was why. And who you went out with was with my friends.
Okay, great, good. These points are sufficient. Now I have to still teach you how to speak. Please mute yourself, and thank you, Aparna. Prashanti, please unmute and tell me what points have you written for this question.
I went with my whole family. It's around 1 year back. Occasion on my baby birthday, where we went with a hotel. At Dilshuk Nagar Hotel Swagat Grand.
Okay, all right. Any more points that you've written?
A special day around a special day at 2017.
In 2017. Good, good. The notes are really nice. Very nice. Thank you, Prashanti. Anybody else who would like to volunteer and share their notes with us? Guys, this is not done. Come on, you're getting an opportunity to share and get a feedback also. Go ahead, answer. And all of us are in the same boat. So please don't think anybody is going to judge you. Don't be scared. Go for it. Anybody who would like to raise their hands and share? Okay, Rakshanda, Dr. Rakshanda, go ahead. Please unmute and go ahead.
Yes. So I went to Paradise Hotel in Hyderabad in February 2021 after the first lockdown, and they serve world famous biryani, and I often visit that place, and it is very delicious, and most of the time I go along with my family members and we have a great time there.
Okay. All right. So I like how you said in general you go to this particular place. All right. What you can do to enhance your answer is talk about a specific time that you went and was memorable. Maybe you can add that in your answer. All right. Okay. Since you guys are not volunteering on your own. Okay, Dr. Lino. Okay. If you don't volunteer, I am going to pick you guys. Okay. Dr. Lino, please unmute.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm good. So a meal that I remember till today is one such meal that I had 2 years ago, and I had it in a restaurant at Chennai with my family, and it is I don't remember the name of that restaurant, and that place was quite famous for Chettinad biryani, and I cherished that meal with my family.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Great. Very good points. But remember, we're still doing step one, that is understanding how to make notes. Okay. We've still not learned how to elaborate our answer. Dr. Lino, I also liked how you mentioned that I don't remember the name of the restaurant. Okay. And another thing that I appreciate, whatever you guys have said so far, you've covered all the anchor questions, all the bullet points, which is very important, because sometimes while answering, when we forget to add this point, a particular point which is given in the cue card, the examiner will ask you after you finish answering, that is after 2 minutes. Okay, don't give that kind of a chance to the examiner. You make sure you add all the bullet points which are given to you in the cue card. All right, I'm going to pick 2 more people and then we'll move on. Okay. Anila, please unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. I tried to do something like past and present. Just I'm gonna say out just the points. It is the meal which I had when I was like 8 years old. We had a pet's birthday kind, and we had a family picnic in Kapan Park. Something like that I jot on the points.
So can you please I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So you can also talk about, make sure when you're answering, and I hope you've jotted down all the bullet points even for this.
Yes. Place with who, everyone, like why,
can you please
where.
tell me those bullet points, because it's very vague otherwise.
Yeah. Who means it's family and the neighbors. Who were neighbors, because the pet is always around. It's with all the neighbors.
Okay, you can elaborate that later, but you can just say
all right.
Family and neighbors. Go ahead.
Place was Kaban Park, and occasion is the birthday of the pet. And it's really special because that was the first picnic ever, like with the pets I went. And present, I wanted to say that when I prepared first time ever biryani in the home, that was like really, it turned out to be really good. Yeah, I was planning to do the future, but I was out of time.
Doesn't matter. You can still say past and present, and I hope in the present also you are going to talk about
yes,
why you made this meal and
correct,
who ate, everything.
Occasion,
everything, right? Good, good. Very nice, Anila. Really nice, and I'm glad you've explored the other way of preparing or writing down notes, which is past, present, and future. Very nice. Thank you. And I'm going to pick one more person. Vincy, can you please unmute? Hi, Vincy.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi. Yes.
The most special meal I ever had in my life was on my dad's birthday last year.
Okay. I want to stop you here. I don't want you to frame any sentences. Just tell me the notes, just the bullet points, okay? Where, why, who, and why you remember. That's all. Just give me the bullet points, because I still have to teach you how to frame your answers. Okay.
Meal was prepared by me in my family, with all my family members, to surprise him, and by preparing him the favorite food for him.
Okay. Great. Great. So you've covered all the points here, and obviously I will now teach you how to elaborate. Good job. So guys, I hope you've understood how to make notes. I have somebody who's asked me a question in the chat. Let me just read out and answer that query. Will the format be the same in the examination? Yes. The cue card is going to be just the way I'm showing it to you here on the screen. You will get the entire set, which is describe, You should say where, why, who, and explain. That's exactly what I told you even when I showed you the previous question, correct? So the cue card consists of 3 segments: the topic, the anchor questions which help you to describe that topic, and finally answering why or how. Is it clear? Aparna, I hope your question is answered. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. All right, now let's move on. We finished the first step, the first stage, making notes. Let's move on and understand how to answer. How do you structure? Okay, now every answer, be it part 1, part 2, or part 3, always is divided into 3 parts or 3 chunks, okay, or 3 groups, so to say. One is the beginning statement and opening statement, which basically will establish what is it that you're going to talk about, okay? So going back to the question of an older person you admire, you can start your statement, or you can begin your part 2 answer by saying, I am going to talk about my paternal grandfather who I admire the most. Okay, so this is an opening statement or an intro statement where I'm establishing what I'm going to talk and what my answer is going to contain. Clear? Yes? Now, after this, you will have to elaborate using the anchor questions. And what were the anchor questions we had? Who this person is, which I've already established, my paternal grandfather, and I'll probably elaborate that a little. How long I've known him or her, that is how long I've known my grandfather. What are the qualities he has? And then I will close it by saying why I admire him. Clear? Yes. So in this portion, in this segment, I'm going to elaborate and start talking about all the anchor questions that are given to me. Okay. For instance, actually, I'll talk about the ending also and then tell you how to answer in detail. All right. After you talk about, or after you elaborate the anchor questions, you have to close your answer by using one key statement. You can use that why or how, or answer that why or how segment and close your answer. Is it clear? So beginning intro statement will just be one statement, and ending your talk also, or the conclusion statement also, needs to be 1 or 2 statements only. It is in the middle where you're going to elaborate. Okay? Is it clear? Now, before I tell you how to answer in detail, you have all the notes with you in your hand on a piece of paper. Please feel free to look at it and look at the examiner while you talk. So here, hold on, somebody's asked me some question, looks like. No, okay. So here I have my notes. I can look at it and answer. Don't stare at your notes all the time, but look at it, look at the examiner, look at the keyword, frame your sentences and answer. All right. Now, let me tell you how you can go ahead and answer your part 2 question. And the question is this. I'm going to go back to the question. Yeah. I am going to talk about my paternal grandfather, who I admire the most. I've obviously known my grandfather since childhood because my parents, my siblings and I, and my grandfather lived together in an apartment. My grandfather is somebody who is always bold and systematic. He makes it a point to keep things back in its original place and never gets afraid to speak his mind. One thing about my grandfather, which not just me, but everybody around him appreciates, is that he's extremely broad-minded and accepts the new generation trends very easily. I admire a lot of qualities about my grandfather, but there are 2 things which I always will cherish. The first one is how independent he is even at the age of 80. He wakes up at the specific time every morning, does his daily chores, and never asks for help. I have a lot of fond memories with him, and I remember him taking me to the park, buying me a lot of exciting gifts and goodies, and telling me a lot of bedtime stories, which are with me even today. His motto, and one quality that I've imbibed and inculcated, is learning is a continuous process. And that is something that I follow very religiously. He always has told me, no matter who it is, make sure you learn till the last day of your life. And that's something which I am going to take away and is very close to my heart. This is my answer. Now, what did I do? These were the points that I had jotted down anyway. I just elaborated these points. And also, I brought in a structure to my answer. How I told you who I'm going to talk about. And then I used these anchor questions: who, what qualities, how long have I known him, and given some extra details, added some frills to it. And finally, I concluded my answer by telling that one quality, even though there are multiple qualities that I really like, that one particular quality that I always will take away, which is learning is a continuous process. And that's how I ended it. So make sure when you answer, you always elaborate and answer in detail. Another thing that I would like to tell you is, please don't rush. Answer slowly, okay? You have 2 full minutes, right? Your answer can be anywhere between 1 minute, 30 seconds to 2 minutes. That's absolutely fine. The examiner will stop you, okay? Just make sure that you answer all the keywords and give enough explanation. Don't go overboard. Just give enough explanation so that you don't cross the 2 minutes time, and do not rush. Even if you're talking in terms of past and present and future, you will be giving 3 separate instances, and you can do the same thing. Talk about the past first, elaborate it completely using the anchor questions, then the present, and then the future. And make sure you end it with one statement, which is like a key takeaway. Is it clear, everybody? And make sure you narrate it. Don't just give bullet points, okay? Is it clear, everybody? Any doubts, any questions? I'm giving you 2 minutes. Quickly put it in the chat. If you've understood, type yes. If you have a question, type the question. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes. Everybody, there are a lot of people who said yes. Divya, Anisha, Stency. Great. So no questions. Everything is clear so far. Jeshma, Nitin, Vinita, Yash, Vinod. Everything is clear. No doubts, no questions. Vinod, yes, let me just unmute you. Hold on, please. Yes, Vinod.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
So one question, like how I can control talking rush, like by natural habit. Sometimes I answers in rush, and that mess up my grammar and sentence forming, and I feel like I will finish the content before 1 minute only.
Okay. So as a person, you speak very fast, correct? Now you know that you're not supposed to rush, because knowing you know yourself so well that you're saying that I may finish my answer before 1 minute, which is not the agenda or the idea of the task, right? You need to make sure you speak at least for 1 minute, 30 seconds. What can you do? Every time you practice, record yourself and practice slowly and keep a timer. All right. So you know, okay, this is how much or this is how slow I need to speak. Is it clear? And if required, you can even add more details to enhance your answer so that you go up to 1 minute, 30 seconds at least. Vinod, did I answer your question?
It will come with the practice. It will come with the practice then.
Yes, obviously. Anything and everything is that way, right? Now you know this is the problem. I've given you a solution. Use this, practice it every day. And the best thing to do, everybody, in fact, is record yourselves and listen to the way you're answering. You will know where you are going wrong or what is going wrong in your answer. Is it clear? Yes, Vinod, did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Since nobody else has any questions, and if you do, you can put it in the chat. I will give you all 1 minute to prepare whatever notes you've made. Prepare your answer because today is the first day of part 2. So obviously you need that kind of time. I'll give you 1 minute. Recollect what you want to speak. Look at your notes and raise your hand. I will start asking and you will actually speak. We are going to do the practice. Clear? So in 1 minute, prepare and answer. The question is going to be the same. Describe a meal that you had that you remember well. That's the question because you've written notes for that. Make use of this time to answer. All right, guys, so that you get a feedback also. All right, let's begin. Let's not waste too much time. Anybody who would like to answer, please raise your hand. I will unmute you, set the timer to 2 minutes. You can answer, I'll give you a feedback and then we can move on. All right? Yes. And if you don't raise your hand, I will ask, I will pick people. So you decide. Okay, Jeshma, please unmute and start answering.
Okay, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly. How are you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm fine. Good.
Superb. Okay. Don't rush. Talk slightly slowly. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
I'm going to start the timer. Go for it.
The meal that I remember is a biryani that I had in a restaurant 2 years ago because I used to go out with my friends when we get the time for that. The meal that I had was in a restaurant at Kochi. It was prepared in a special hotel. The reason for we gone to that hotel was it was prescribed from some other friends of mine. So we gone there and had a good time. And the biryani was very special that I ever had in my life. And the name of the restaurant was Swad. And the appearance of the hotel was very nice. And I think that was the best meal that I ever had.
All right. Yeah. Jeshma, I thought that's it. Do you want to speak some more?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to give you a feedback now. Jeshma, you finished your answer in less than 1 minute. Okay. What I liked was that you had some points to talk about. I wish you had elaborated that a little more. You had points. It's not that you were not aware of what to speak. You had points, but you just did not elaborate as much. Also, slow down. No need to rush. Okay, you have 2 whole minutes, so don't worry about that. I liked how you answered each and every question. You've not left anything. However, it was slightly incoherent because you told me the name of the restaurant towards the end. I wish you had told me in the beginning. Okay, and focus on your grammar. I would really like all of you to work on your grammar because that's a very important aspect in the IELTS examination. Okay. Jeshma, please practice. All right. Because you're good and you can do much, much, much better. All right. Thank you. Okay. Aparna. Hold on, please. Just a second. Yeah. Yeah. Please start.
Okay, so I would like to talk about the meal that I had after the first lockdown. And I went to a place called Barbecue Nation. So that's always been my go-to restaurant whenever I want to eat the outside food. Why I had that is thinking of considering the COVID pandemic around. I thought barbecue will be a little safer place because you get hot food. And I went with my friends, and I went with them because the entire year, 9 during the lockdown, I used to spend time with them by playing Ludo. So I just wanted to meet them in person and have some quality time. So I went with my friends after like 8-9 months. So I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Okay. You started off well. You elaborated fine, no problem with that, but I wish you had ended it better. Okay, I wish you had closed it better. Okay. Another thing that I want to tell all of you is please do not read the WH questions. Don't say why I went to the restaurant is, or why I had this particular meal is. Don't repeat the question. Narrate it. Tell it like a story. Tell it like you're telling it to your friend. Okay? Narrate it. Do not use the anchor questions in your answer. As in, do not mention why I went here, where I went was. No. Okay? Another thing that I would like to tell everybody is, it is very normal, especially when you're talking for 2 whole minutes, that to connect statements, we end up using and. Another thing is when we want to pause and move to the next point, silence is something which can be very, very, intimidating, especially when you're talking for 2 whole minutes without being interrupted. So again, you end up using and. What happens is this is how you say, or this is how you end up answering. And this is not only for Aparna, this is for everybody. Okay. A meal that I enjoyed eating the most was when I went to Barbecue Nation after the lockdown, and I went with my friends because I used to play Ludo with them for 8-9 months. And I went here because Barbecue Nation food is generally very safe and always hot. And so what am I doing? To connect sentences, I'm only saying and. Don't do that. Pause for a second and then move on to the next point. Is it clear? All right. Thanks, Aparna. Very nice. Thank you. Please work on the feedback that I've given you. All right. Moving on. Anybody else who would like to volunteer and answer? Raise your hand. I will ask you. Prashanti, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Yes, go for it. Hi, Prashanti. Please. Yeah.
I would like to tell you about the meal that I had at Hyderabad. It was an occasion on my son's first birthday. The special day I would never forget in my life. I had gone with all my family members to celebrate my son's first birthday. I would like to tell about the food that was very delicious that I ever had in my life. That was Hyderabadi's chicken biryani. It was the best food I ever taste. It was a big restaurant, and all my family members were very happy. We all get together, and most of the people don't like spicy, but in my family, all we are interested in eating the spicy food. Although it was in a big restaurant, we feel free to have the food, and it was like the recipe and the taste, the structure, everything depends upon the chef. It really makes us feel good to have a great meal. On that day onwards, I become a big foodie. Since from that day, all my family members are remembering every time whenever we recall my son's first birthday.
Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Good.
Yep.
Okay. Prashanti, content was okay, no doubt about it. Okay. Use better words. For example, the meal that I remember very vividly or very clearly is when I hosted my son's birthday party for my family members and friends.
Okay.
Okay. Talk more about the occasion, talk more about the food. No need to talk about the chef.
Okay.
Okay. And another thing that I would like to tell you is you can use statements like, this was a special occasion because my son's first birthday my son is very close to my heart, and celebrating his birthday was a huge deal for me. Okay. All right. Focus on your grammar as well, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Prashanti, for volunteering. Anila, please unmute.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I start?
Please, 1 second. Let me just set the timer also. Yes, you may.
Well, sorry. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Start over. You cannot do this in the examination.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry. Yeah. I'm going to talk about 2 really special meals which I ever had, which are really memorable for me. One, when I was like 8 years old, my parents planned to make we had a pet. We planned to celebrate its birthday in Cubbon Park, and that's when my mom prepared like really all special items, and we invited all our neighbors so that we can make it really special for the pet. And that was one of the really, okay, I'm using the word really a lot, sorry. And one more, the one which I had in recent times was like 3 months back. I prepared the biryani and I announced that I got promoted in the house with my family. So that was really special because, yeah, I got promoted. That's it. Sorry.
Why are you so conscious?
Yeah.
You had good points. Why did you get conscious? You spoke for less than a minute.
Yeah, got it.
Now, how could you have said it? There are 2, you started off so well by saying that I would like to talk about 2 very special meals that are memorable or that are close to my heart. One was when I was 8 years old, when my parents and I celebrated my pet's birthday. My mother had such elaborate plans for my little pet, and we invited my friends, our neighbors, and cousins, and all of us had a very nice picnic at Cubbon Park. In fact, some of our friends and neighbors got their pets as well, so that they could also socialize and enjoy themselves. I remember this occasion specifically because that was the very first time that I had experienced how a picnic feels like. Okay? And at that time, nobody had heard of celebrating a pet's birthday. And we had done that. So that made me feel very excited and special also. After that, another meal that was extremely special was when I got promoted last year. Stency, I'll come to you just a minute. When I got promoted last year, and I, for the very first time, made biryani at home for my entire family. I called my cousins, my friends, and we all set out the table, and I made this delicious chicken biryani. The best part was it turned out to be very nice, and since then I've been asked to make it over and over again at home. These are the 2 meals that I think will always remain close to my heart. More than the food, I think the experience is what I cherish the most. Your answer, your points, elaborate it. Don't get conscious.
All right.
Okay? Clear? All right.
Yeah.
Please don't get conscious.
Okay.
You can't afford to lose. Nobody should get conscious in front of the examiner because you can't afford to lose marks. Okay? Okay. Stency, and then after Stency, one more person, after which I'll obviously be giving a home assignment. Okay? Yeah, one more thing, please note, do not use I wanna, I gonna, I'm gonna, I am going to, I want to. No using slangs, okay? Stency, please unmute and start. Hold on, Stency.
Well,
you just set the timer?
Yeah.
Yes, go for it.
Well, I still remember the meal that I had 5 years back.
Stency, hold on, please unmute. You will have to start. You're on mute. Yeah, please start.
Okay,
start over.
Yeah. Well, I still remember the meal that I had 5 years back in my friend's house in Ernakulam, Kerala. I was invited for the meal during Onam celebration, which is one of the famous festival in Kerala. I went there along with my spouse because we both enjoy eating South Indian foods. The taste of that meal is still there in the tip of my tongue because there were a variety of foods which was very tasty and mouth-watering. That's it, I prepared. That's it.
What?
I think I didn't reach 1 minute, I guess.
Sorry?
I think it didn't reach 1 minute.
No, only 30 seconds. You had such nice points. What else could you have said? Stency, forget the timer. What else could you have said to elaborate? Go for it.
The food was prepared by my friend's mom. She is very well in cooking, very good in cooking. She has also worked in a hotel as a chef.
Now look at the questions. What else do you need to answer? Why do you remember this particular occasion so well?
Okay, I remember this occasion. Okay, this occasion was very special because obviously it was Onam, and we had lots of games to play over there, and many like we had to put rangoli in the house, and also her mom prepared a payasam, which was very tasty, and I think I'm going blank.
No, it's about you. Remember, guys, even part 2 is about you, about an event that has happened in your life. You're not making it up. You're not lying. This actually happened. So recollect that. So one more thing that you can use, another trick that you can use to sort of recollect points other than what you've written on a piece of paper is to talk slowly. To talk little slowly. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Like while speaking, if we don't remember some ideas, we have note down all the ideas or whatever we remember, and still if we don't remember, can we create some ideas and speak? Because
you can do that, but make sure when you do it, when you create the ideas while speaking, you don't go off topic or you don't become incoherent. Okay, so I also did that for the older person question. Yeah, towards the end, I said learning is a continuous process, and I explained that I said on the spot, but then it was coherent because I wanted to put it at the end. So whenever you're adding points, apart from what you've written, make sure you are elaborating wherever it is required, and it's okay. The examiner is not going to check your piece of paper and say, oh, she said this, she said this, she said this. No, that piece of paper is for you to answer, for your guidance. Okay. All right.
And ma'am, I wanted one more tip for speaking slowly. I mean, I usually rush while speaking.
Okay. So if you are somebody who rushes while speaking, consciously, I'm doing part 2, I have to speak slowly. Again, the best thing to do is record yourself. When you record yourself, you will understand, oh my God, I actually am speaking really fast. I need to slow down. consciously you'll have to make an effort and practice. That's what will help you slow down and not rush. All right. Another thing, 1 second, Divya Teja, let me answer your question. Just give me a second. Stency.
Yeah.
Paisam is an Indian word. You can just say, sweet, she made some really delicious sweet with milk.
Okay.
Okay. And instead of rangoli, you can just say we made some colorful designs.
Okay.
Okay. Try not to use Indian words.
Okay.
Like roti or chapatis and stuff like that. You can use Indian bread. Okay. Yeah. Biryani is a very well-known term, so I'm not really saying much to that for that. But the others. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stency.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Divya, if we speak less than 2 minutes, is there any problem with full answers? Can you please elaborate, Divya? I'm going to just unmute you. Hold on. Divya Teja. Yeah, can you please unmute and ask me the question?
Hi, ma'am. Actually, if we speak less than 2 minutes with the full answers, whatever steps they have given there, is there any problem?
When you say less than 2 minutes,
yeah,
it can't be 1 minute. It can't be 30 seconds.
Maybe it won't be 1.5 minutes.
1.5 minutes to 2 minutes is absolutely okay. But you have to speak for at least 1.5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I am going to give you guys 2 more minutes towards the end. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I will answer your questions and then we can close the session for today. All right. Any questions, any doubts? You can either type it in the chat or raise your hand. If everything is clear, please type in the chat and let me know if everything is clear. Otherwise, I will be wondering. Okay. Yes, Prashanti.
Ma'am, what was the time that I ended my section?
I'm sorry?
What was the time speaking?
Prashanti, you went a little over 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I stopped you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Anybody else, any doubts, any questions? If everything is clear? Okay, great. Great. Lovely. Let's do a quick recap. Okay, I will be sending you another thing. I will be sending you a part 2 question. The WhatsApp forum is open from 7 to 8 p.m. Please send in your recordings. Okay. Another thing, if you have not shared your email ID, what exam you're planning to take, IELTS General or Academic, please send that out as well along with your name. I will send the format again. Otherwise, you will not receive the training material. Okay. Those who've sent across already, I have added you to one learning management portal. Sent a video as well, which will help you understand how to access this. Go ahead, do that. Okay. Okay. Anisha, just a minute. I will do a quick recap and then you can ask me doubts about Canvas. Okay. All right. So today we did a quick recap of part 1 and about IELTS examination. And we also learned about the long term, which is the only segment in IELTS speaking module where you have 1 minute time to prepare, make your notes and speak for 2 minutes. So while you are making notes, there are 2 ways you can do it. One, jot down keywords about that one specific instance or one specific event, or you can talk about past, present and future. But make sure every time you elaborate it and talk about all the anchor questions that are given there. Okay. Yes, we also did a couple of practice questions. If you have any doubts, the chat box is still open for you to ask questions. Okay. If no doubts, then we can close the class. Anisha, I'm going to unmute you. You can ask me questions about Canvas. Let me see if it is relevant. Also, if at all you feel you want to interact with somebody from the group, please feel free to do that, but not on the group, obviously. Yeah. Anisha, you have the query about Canvas. Please unmute and ask. Okay. Anisha, since you're not unmuting, what you can do is when I'm opening the window from 7 to 8, please post the question in the chat. All right. Okay, everybody. I hope you've learned. Okay, 1 second. Somebody else has a question. If suppose the points are not formed in a structured manner, will it affect our performance? So Divya has asked if the points that we've written or points that we speak are not in a structured manner, will it affect our performance? There are two things. One, you can jot down the points however you want. That piece of paper is for you. However, while speaking, if your points are not structured, if they're not coherent, it is definitely going to affect your score, because fluency and coherence is the very first scoring parameter. Okay, Divya, I hope I've answered your question. Any other doubts, any other questions? If not, we'll close the class. All right. Looks like everyone's clear. I hope you had a good session. I hope you all have learned enough information and understood how to answer part 1 and part 2. Tomorrow, we will do part 3, and I will explain how to answer part 3 as well. Okay. Thank you very much and have a great evening. I will see you tomorrow at 5:30. Thank you.